Mental power doesn't roar. It doesn't scream. It doesn't beg to be noticed. Real mental power is silent, cold, precise, and devastatingly effective. It doesn't waste energy proving itself. It knows. We were taught that strength was external. That power was in dominance, in noise, in numbers. But the mind, the true mind, knows better. The most dangerous power in the world is the man or woman who has mastered their own thoughts. Because when you command your inner world, nothing out there can break you. Not betrayal, not loss, not isolation, not failure. Mental power is not inherited, it's earned, forged in silence, built in discomfort, sharpened by pain, and sealed by the refusal to be a slave to your emotions. Look around you. Everyone's reacting. Everyone's triggered. Everyone's chasing the next distraction, the next dopamine hit, the next shiny thing that gives them 5 minutes of escape from themselves. Mental power isn't about escape. It's about endurance. The ability to sit in the fire of your own shadow and not flinch. That's where the game changes. That's where average men fold and powerful minds rise. A mentally powerful person doesn't fight reality. They absorb it. They decode it. They reshape it using internal alchemy. You think you're powerless because of your circumstances. But the truth is you've been giving away your power by how you interpret those circumstances. You hand it over every time you say, I can't help it. I'm just like this. This is how I've always been. No, you chose that lens. You installed that belief. And what you install, you can uninstall. That's mental power, the recognition that everything you believe is just a story, and every story can be rewritten. A powerful mind is not positive. It's sovereign. It doesn't lie to you. It doesn't coat life in delusion. It tells the truth ruthlessly. But from that truth, it creates agency. You don't get stronger by pretending. You get stronger by choosing to feel everything and still not collapse. We're not talking about toxic toughness. This isn't about bottling your pain. This is about transmuting it, making something useful out of it, something you can stand on, something no one can take from you. Carl Jung said, people will do anything, no matter how absurd, to avoid facing their own soul. But you, if you're still listening, you're not most people. You're not here to avoid. You're here to confront, because you've tasted the cost of avoidance. You've lived the consequences of mental weakness, the overthinking, the paralysis, the people-pleasing, the rage you never named. And now, something inside you is done. That's the beginning of mental power. The moment you stop running, the moment you stop blaming, the moment you turn around and face your mind like a beast in the dark and say, no more. You work for me now. And it won't happen overnight, because the mind is ancient. It doesn't trust declarations, it trusts habits. You'll have to earn its respect every time you wake up early when you don't feel like it. Every time you shut the door on a toxic thought before it festers. Every time you act in alignment with your highest self, not your laziest impulse. You send a signal. I'm in charge now. Not your trauma. Not your inner critic. Not the broken voice from childhood. You. And over time, the mind listens. It stops fighting you. It starts serving you like a wild animal that's finally learned who the master is. That's mental power. Command, not control. Leadership, not domination. Influence, not intimidation. You don't force a powerful mind into submission. You earn its loyalty through discipline. Discipline of thought, discipline of attention, discipline of response. And let me be clear, mental power is not about being emotionless. It's about emotional fluency. knowing the difference between a wound and a weapon, feeling your anger but not becoming it, acknowledging your fear but not obeying it, letting your sadness speak but not letting it steer. A mentally powerful person doesn't repress their feelings. They regulate them. They listen without reacting. They pause before responding. They hold space for their storm without unleashing it on the world. This is how you scare weak people. Not with aggression, with clarity. Not with noise, with presence. Not with perfection, but with precision. The world is loud because it's insecure. But the powerful, they are silent and sovereign. Because when your mind is in order, everything else follows. Mental power is not about knowing everything. It's about knowing yourself. Knowing your shadows so well that no one can weaponize them against you. Knowing your triggers so deeply that no one can manipulate them. Knowing your vision so clearly that no distraction feels tempting. You become immovable, not stubborn anchored, not inflexible, grounded. That's how you terrify manipulators. They can't get in because you're no longer leaking approval. You're no longer outsourcing your worth. You don't flinch when misunderstood. You don't shrink when doubted. You don't chase because you choose. Mental power is the ability to be alone and not feel lonely. To be criticized and not collapse. To be uncertain and still move forward. It is presence without performance. Stillness without apathy. Conviction without noise. And once you taste it, the calm that no one can take from you, the clarity that cuts through chaos, the silence inside your head that used to be war, now turned to wisdom, you'll never go back. Because now you know the secret. The real battle was never out there. It was always in here. And the war is won when you stop trying to escape your mind and start mastering it. Vision. Vision isn't about seeing the future. It's about remembering what the present is trying to tell you. It's not about fantasy, delusion, or obsession with goals. It's about alignment. It's what remains when the noise dies down. It's what whispers to you when the world distracts. It's not a dream. It's a revelation. Most people can't see clearly, not because they lack potential, but because their minds are cluttered with projections that don't belong to them. Expectations inherited from their parents. Wounds shaped by their exes. Ambitions handed down by a culture that taught them to chase instead of create. Vision isn't about what's ahead. It's about seeing yourself without distortion. It's about burning every script that says you need to earn your worth. It's about stepping out of the story of who you were supposed to be and finally stepping into who you already are. A powerful mind doesn't wait for external clarity. It creates it. Not through rushing, not through forcing, but by subtracting every lie that fogs the mirror until what's left is truth. Simple, clean, undeniable. Vision is terrifying because once you see, you can't unsee. And now you have no excuse to settle. Now, mediocrity tastes like poison. Now, staying quiet feels like self-betrayal. Now, you know, and once you know, you must move. Clarity. Clarity isn't comfort. It's confrontation. The moment you stop pretending, the moment you stop asking, what should I do? And start asking, what am I refusing to admit? Clarity is a scalpel. It cuts through the fog. It slices through denial. It's not gentle. It's not kind. But it is liberating. Because once you get clear on what matters, what truly matters, you stop wasting your life performing. You stop building things just to be seen. You stop chasing applause and start cultivating alignment. Most people aren't confused. They're avoiding the truth. the truth about their relationship, the truth about their habits, the truth about who they've become while trying to survive. But clarity comes when you stop running, when you sit still long enough for your soul to speak louder than your fear, when you let the discomfort teach you instead of distract you. And in that silence, clarity emerges, not as a lightning bolt, but as a steady, unshakable knowing. This is who I am. This is what I will no longer tolerate. This is what I must become. Belief. Your belief system is not sacred, it's inherited. It's the operating system written by people who may have never questioned their own pain. But you were born to update the code. You were born to say, just because I believed it yesterday doesn't mean I'm married to it today. A powerful mind doesn't just question others, it questions itself. It challenges its assumptions. It interrogates every I can't and I'm not until it finds the root. And then it rewrites it. Belief is not passive. It's creative. What you believe, you build. If you believe you are broken, your decisions will reinforce that fracture. If you believe you're cursed, you'll manifest proof in every relationship. If you believe you're powerful, not perfect, but capable, your life will rise to meet that expectation. You are not at the mercy of your programming. You are the architect of your becoming. But belief is the blueprint. Don't just believe what's familiar. Believe what's useful. Believe what frees you. And if the old beliefs still haunt you, look them in the eye and say, thank you for keeping me safe, but I'm building something bigger now. Discipline. Discipline is self-love in action, not self-punishment, not perfectionism, not control. Discipline is the highest form of self-respect. It's what you do when the motivation fades, when the applause stops, when no one is watching and the old you whispers, just skip today. But you don't, because you made a vow, a sacred, quiet, non-negotiable vow to become the kind of person who follows through. Discipline isn't rigid. It's not about suffering. It's about consistency rooted in clarity. It's the daily decision to live in alignment with your future, not your impulses. It doesn't always feel good, but it always feels right. When your mind is powerful, discipline becomes identity. You no longer have to force it, because it's who you are. You don't do the work to get results. You do the work because it's what powerful people do. You don't train because it's convenient. You train because you're a warrior now. Discipline is not a cage. It's the key. Action. Mental strength without motion is potential wasted. You can think all the right thoughts. You can meditate, visualize, journal, but until you act, nothing changes. Action is the translation of belief into reality. It's the decision to stop preparing, stop researching, stop overanalyzing, and start doing. The most mentally powerful people aren't the smartest. They're the ones who move despite doubt, despite fear, despite noise. They understand. You don't wait until it's easy. You act until it becomes natural. You don't build confidence by sitting in your head. You build it by repeating courageous action. Start before you're ready. Move before it's perfect. Speak even if your voice shakes. Write even if your hand trembles. Stand even if your knees buckle. Because the longer you wait, the more the old self tightens its grip. But the moment you move, you interrupt the pattern. You break the spell, and every act of courage sends a message to your mind. We are not who we used to be. Transcendence. You were not built to stay the same. Not mentally, not spiritually, not emotionally. Everything in nature evolves, and yet we treat the self like it's static, like who you were at 17 should dictate who you become at 37. That's not identity. That's imprisonment. Transcendence doesn't ask you to reject your past. It demands you rise above its limitations. It's not a denial, it's an integration. It's when you carry your scars like scrolls of wisdom, not shackles of shame. But here's the truth. Transcendence is not a peak, it's a process. You'll climb, then slip. You'll soar, then collapse. You'll speak your truth, then tremble at its echo. But each cycle purifies you, refines you, strips away the unnecessary. You begin to notice the triggers lose their bite. The fears lose their grip. The chaos no longer seduces you because you've seen beyond the veil. You've glimpsed the power that exists when you're no longer ruled by impulse. You become transparent. To others, maybe, but to yourself, always. And that is where real transcendence lives. It's not about leaving the world behind. It's about re-entering it as someone untouchable by its noise. Sovereignty. Sovereignty means you are no longer governed by external storms. It means your energy is yours. Your time is yours. Your choices are not based on pleasing, performing, or placating. Sovereignty is stillness in the face of noise. It's clarity in the middle of chaos. It's the unshakable truth that you do not owe anyone your obedience. Not your family, not your culture, not the voice of shame in your mind that mimics the tone of someone who never saw your worth. When you are sovereign, you no longer barter your truth for connection. You no longer apologize for your healing. You no longer shrink to be digestible. You understand the cost of betraying yourself is too high, and the reward of standing alone in truth is worth it. You stop chasing peace because you become it. Mastery. This is where the climb becomes creation. This is where power stops being potential and starts being presence. Mastery isn't about dominance over others. It's about dominion within. You master your mind by knowing what not to entertain. You master your energy by knowing where not to place it. You master your emotions by letting them move through you, not define you. You don't master life by controlling everything. You master it by choosing yourself in every moment you're tempted to abandon your standards. You become the kind of person who doesn't just react, you respond. Who doesn't just follow, you lead. Not for ego, but for integrity. Because the greatest freedom is living a life that doesn't require escape. You master your story by rewriting it daily. With action, with boundaries, with unapologetic clarity. You stop asking the world for permission to rise. You rise anyway. The final becoming. This is the truth about mental power. It's not found in books. It's not granted by mentors. It's not inherited by blood. It's forged in silence, in solitude, in the long, dark nights where you decide to face yourself instead of hide from what you've carried. Mental power is not the absence of pain. It's the transformation of it. It's the ability to sit with your demons and realize they were just distorted pieces of your divinity waiting to be seen. The world will not hand you power. It will hand you mirrors. People to reflect your wounds, challenges to expose your weakness, storms to test your center. And each time you stand rooted, each time you breathe instead of break, each time you choose truth over comfort, you build it brick by brick, your inner fortress. So don't pray for an easier path. Pray for a stronger mind. Not one that avoids, but one that absorbs. Not one that dominates, but one that directs. Not one that pretends, but one that remembers. Because when you truly remember who you are, what you've survived, what you've risen from, what you've built in silence, what you've carried in darkness, you become unshakable. And from that place where nothing external holds your leash, you don't just think power. You don't just feel power. You are power. This is the truth about mental power. You don't find it. You forge it. And once it's yours, the world has no choice but to respond.